It is a sort of an honorific. Literally, it means uncle. Because we have a prefix to the name depending on your age and your social status. When we are young, we are called Mao, for a younger brother. And when we become to the university age, we are called Ko, which is elder brother. And then when you grow, either old or you have attained a certain status, you're called U, uncle. It is an honorific.
And are you sexist people? Do you have some titles for women also, or only men get titles in Myanmar?
Women in Myanmar, also have their own system. They have what they call, they only have two, Ma and Do. Because Ma can mean either, a younger sister or an elder sister. And Do is aunt. So my wife is a Do Mei Yin Ton.
I see. Go ahead. First you and then you.
In 2005, the Financial Action Task Force implemented countermeasures to combat Myanmar's money laundering problem. Is the government's lack of interest and intervention in it a result in the government getting positive effects from money laundering?
Thank you very much for that question. Ambassador Kamal has said we do not have good relations with the United States. When you don't have good relations with the United States, you appeared in all sort of lists. And I have to tell you that we are already taking out of the list. We are already taking out of the list. We are also on the list of countries not cooperating enough with regard to drugs. Although the country, both by the United Nations statistics and the United States' own statistics, has reduced production by 88% and cultivation by 80%. And in fact, I think it was in 2003, the State Department wanted to take us out of the list. But some of the congressmen, powerful congressmen, jumped on the State Department. We're still there.
But my own impression is that money laundering in Myanmar is nowhere comparable to money laundering in Switzerland or in Liechtenstein or in the Caribbean countries. That is where the money is really being laundered today. Madam, you have the floor.
Moving away from the money laundering and going to the...
Well, money laundering is good.
I'd like to go to the heroin, what controls are being used for the heroin and methamphetamine. I had been recently in the Golden Triangle, northern Thailand, and according to them, they are doing their best to reposition farmers in different areas. I just wonder what's being done in your country.
Heroin.
Can you repeat the question again because the mic was...
Heroin.
Yes. That is, what I, have been just telling. The heroin comes from opium, and the opium cultivation, according to the United Nations statistics, have gone down by 80% in the last 6 years, and the production, has gone down by 88%. So, and we're getting very high marks from UNODC.
But
yes, that's what they said about lies, more lies, and statistics. We are still the second largest. But while we were producing 3,000 tons, we're now producing something like 200 tons. And again, narcotic drugs, is a menace that need, the cooperation of the entire global community.
Could I add, because my office happens to be, I have a common wall with the Office for Drugs and Crime in the UN. The problem of drugs is that if a farmer I know Afghanistan better than I know Myanmar or Thailand. If a farmer grows onions in his field, he earns $100 per acre. If he grows poppy in his fields, he earns $100,000 per acre. The question is, how can you tell the farmer not to grow poppy, but to grow onions? No farmer is going to accept that. And so you have to put money in and compensate him. And we are not compensating farmers enough for the transit away from drugs, from poppy into onions or whatever. That's point one. And point two, drugs is not a question only of supply. It is a question of demand. If there is no demand, there would be no supply. And so I do not know. I know what is being done to cut supply in Afghanistan and Colombia and Thailand, etc. I'm not sure I know as to what is being done to cut demand in Europe, United States, Japan, etc. These are the major consumers of drugs. And I'm afraid the picture is not very clear. I want to know what are the hands. Right at the end, the lady in the red.
It says in this paper here that in 1990 there was a multi-party election, but the military refused to hand over power. So why should we believe that in a future election that they will hand over power?
But the elections was not for forming of a government. It was for a constituent, assembly. And I would like to, I've prepared myself for that particular question. Don't, take my word for it. Please, go to, I'll give you a website. Website http, www.networkmyanmar.org by Derek Thompson. Derek Thompson is not from Myanmar. He is a former, British ambassador to Thailand, who knows the country. That was for the drafting of a constitution. And the problem arises with regard to the drafting of the constitution. The party that want by a landslide, want to draw up the constitution on their own. So that is where they have disagreement with the government, because the constitution that is drawn up must be acceptable by the ethnic nationalities. So in the National Convention, we have about 1,080 members. 635 are from the ethnic nationalities, including the representative of the 18 insurgent groups. So that is an election, and because people are not able to study the situation, they said, in 1990 there was an election, National League for Democracy won. The government doesn't hand it over the country, the power to the winning party. That was not, for the, the forming of a new government. That was for the drawing up of a constitution. I'll give you the website number. So don't take my word for it. Look at it, and the analysis from a former, a British ambassador to Thailand.
Can I ask a supplementary to that?
Yes.
You said in the beginning that I was wrong in saying that you are respected at the United Nations. The fact is that you are respected, and I certainly have great respect for you. But I want to ask you a personal question. You say we are going to have a referendum in May, and there will be multi-party elections in 2010. How sure are you that as a result of the multi-party elections in 2010, you will have a government which represents the winning majority in that multi-party election? Your personal...
Yes, Ambassador, the government at the highest level have...
No, forget the government, you tell us.
No.
We trust you.
Yes. You remember that I'm a diplomat and execute policies. And the government at the highest level, because, have said that we will resolutely implement the 7-step roadmap. We are currently on step 4 of the roadmap. The most important is the constitution. We have passed that hurdle. The 4th step is the referendum. The 5th step will be the elections. And the 6th and 7th will be the forming of the, of the parliaments, and then handing over the power to an elected government. So the government have said they will resolutely, follow the roadmap. And I'll tell you something. I mentioned that Myanmar is, a member of ASEAN, and ASEAN is a 10-member grouping in Southeast Asia. And unlike the European Union, ASEAN is not an association of democratic states, because in ASEAN we have absolute monarchies, we have socialist government, socialist, you can interpret as communist. We have a military government, And we have democracies in various stages of development.